What up, y'all? Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to another episode. Thank you guys for coming back. Thank you guys for supporting me. I appreciate it. So today I'm going to dive into a topic that could be controversial, could be a little sensitive to the ears. So by no means do I aim to offend anybody. This is just for educational purposes and for me to dive into this topic and think about this one, because this is an interesting one and it's very deep, very complex. You could tackle it from different angles. I'm going to try to address it, see where I could take it, and see where it takes us. So let's get started. So the premise of this idea or this concept is human instinct, and more specifically men, and their perception on women in our society, in American society. I say American society because I live in America. I'm more familiar with it, although I'm sure there's some similarities around the world with different countries and how men view women and how men treat women and things like that. So I'm going to take this idea down this road, this path where, I try to understand from a basic human instinct how men view the opposite sex, right? Within the same species. So, naturally we are reproductive animals, right? We seek the opposite sex and we seek to reproduce and to extend our kin, and our bloodline. You see it in a lot of different animals, in most animals actually. Just the basic need to reproduce, right? And I think where it gets complicated and where it gets very complex is when you add a level of consciousness, right? A level of being conscious of your actions and being conscious of your decisions. I feel like animals in the animal kingdom act and react instinctively. They find a mate and they mate, they reproduce. As humans, we have choices, right? We're conscious of what we're doing, and within those choices it's complex too, because you have perspectives and your choices are based around your experience in life and what you think is right, what you think is wrong. Like it's a complex thing to make a decision, but we have that choice to make a decision, and I feel like that's where it gets complicated. Where I want to take this is deeper. It's deeper than this. It's a deeper level that, again, objectively speaking, I'm trying to tackle this from a specific angle, and I'm not trying to bring up anything. I know I'm trying to tackle this, right? So I think it's interesting because when you take into account men, right? And I fall into that category. Right? I'm not trying to be like, take a side, like men, women, feminist, all that stuff. Like, nah, I'm just trying to tackle this from an objective point of view. When you take into account, men in our society and how we treat women and how we perceive women, back in the day, in the olden days, where women had less rights, and nowadays where it's like crazy, like you see on social media, you see on TikTok, especially on TikTok, how women express themselves for the attention of other men and women. It's interesting because that need for attention can be detrimental. So I'm going to specify my point, because where I really want to take this idea is deeper than the surface. I feel like there's a part of almost every person, almost every man, I suppose, that feel this attraction, right? Feel this desire for the opposite sex, for a woman. They feel this connection. They feel this urge to please, and some people feel this urge to gain, right? To sort of have what they think is theirs. To get. It's like how do you say it? It's like this urge to claim what is rightfully theirs or what they think is theirs. And I feel like that stems from the instinctive part of us. You look at like lions, or you look at other animals in the animal kingdom, that they go out and they seek and they seek to spread their kin, right, and to dominate, and things like that. And I feel like that's the same with the human species. And like I said before, where it gets complex is where, how far is someone willing to act to get what they think is theirs. I mean, you see it in our society a lot as far as the willingness to act upon this desire. And you see it in different forms, right? You see it consensual, you see it non-consensual, you see it in different forms and fashions. Like, I've seen it at parties and stuff, or like at the club. Like, I'll be at the club and I'll just be observing sometimes. Naturally, like, I'll just be in there. Before, I haven't been to a club in a minute, but, you know, before I'd be in there and I'd just be observing how people interact with each other, right? And how, you know, as a man or as a male, we go out there and we seek to attract the opposite sex, right? To attract a female. And some men are willing to go to the extreme to do that. They're willing to do anything to obtain that desire. You know where I'm getting with this, right? Like, you know, as far as assault, you know, sexual assault and things like that, like, it gets deep. You know, it gets deep, it gets dark, but it gets real. You know, it's a real thing. And I feel like that aspect of people, of men, is a lot more common than most people like to admit, realize, are conscious of. It's very common. Yeah, I feel like that particular piece of men, and, you know, that willingness to, not willingness, but that desire is in most men. I feel like what separates and what differentiates is the willingness to act upon it. You know, I read this statistic that I read this statistic in America is about a little less than 1 million. I think it's like 750,000 convicted sex offenders in America. And most of those sex offenders, I think 80 to 95% of them assault people they know. And like over 80% assault minors, children. You know, and that's an interesting thing, man. Like, to think that we are capable of doing something like that, right? From a moral standpoint, it's bad. I mean, you feel all types of way about it, you know, from a moral standpoint. Objectively speaking, I'm trying to understand where that stems from, right? And where that desire to just claim, right, to act upon that, you know, where does that stem from? You know, could it be a piece of our DNA? You know, could it be embedded in us? And just being conscious beings, we have to decipher between that and decide what's right and what's wrong. Or is it something that we learn in society? You know, it's just kind of this trend where you see it and it's not, you don't really see it as a bad thing, I suppose. You know, you see it as a thing that you could do, and it's up to you to act on it. But, you know, I think that's interesting, and I'm trying to dive deeper into this one, but at the same time tread consciously, you know, tread on how I want to go about this one, because I understand, man, it can be a sensitive topic, and my objective and my intentions are not to offend anybody. And I feel like this is, like I said, one of those things where it's like, I want to talk about it because I feel like it's interesting and it's important to talk about and to try to understand why this happens. And you could take this even further outside America, you know, outside of the US, and how in other countries, in like Thailand or places like that, Cambodia, especially in Asia, where underage sex is legal, underage prostitution is legal, things like that. Like, you could take that a lot deeper and try to understand, why is that real? Like, why is that a real thing? Why is that something that is not, banished in the world? You know what I mean? Like, in some places it's just a natural thing. You know, they don't even bat an eye. You don't think twice about it. And for a male, that desire for another female is strong. That's a powerful thing. That feeling, you know, that sensation that you feel is overwhelming. You know, it's overpowering. It's not something that's easily deterred, I feel, and I felt it too. I mean, I'm a male in society. Like, I'm a dude, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I feel, I'm more conscious of it. I feel, I'm more conscious of how it makes me feel, I suppose, and how I feel about it, you know, and how I'm just conscious of it, just more conscious of that feeling towards females. And I feel like some men aren't. Some men feel that feeling towards other females, and they just act on it, right? They don't think twice about it. And I've had like very early experiences with the opposite sex since like kindergarten. And kindergarten is like my first kiss, right? My first interaction with a girl, you know, and how it made me feel. And bro, it's crazy. You know, I'll save the story. I'll spare you the details. But the aftermath, right? And how I perceived girls after that experience in kindergarten with this girl. Her name was Alexis. I still remember it. That's crazy. You know, after that, it kind of shaped me in a way, which I thought about recently too. You know, just that experience with her, and then how it shaped me and how I started to view girls and my understanding of them and how I felt about them and things like that. Like, it shaped me in a interesting way. But I'll spare you the details because it's a lot. Maybe I'll tell you guys sometime in the future, but not today. I wanted to bring this idea to light, this sort of concept, this perception on the male species and how we perceive women in society and where that leads to, right? Because there's so many different cases. There's so many experiences that men and women have that I feel like you could tackle and you could try to pick apart. And you can go deep down the rabbit hole. Like, you can go Epstein Island. You can go, you know, cults, like prostitution, human trafficking, things like that. Like, those are some of the topics, the deeper topics that I'll probably look to tap into in future videos, but we'll see. You know, we'll see how deep I go into this one. So that's gonna be it for this video. I just wanted to tap into this idea, this concept, this perception, you know, chip at the iceberg a little bit, see what you guys think about this one. I know it's a very interesting but sensitive topic, and I'm trying to, like I said, tread cautiously on it. This is definitely a part one. I definitely want to dive deeper into this one and tackle it from different angles again, but like really get into it. You know, like Epstein Island, you know, human trafficking, things like that. Like, it's deep. It's deep and it's dark. But I wanted to see what you guys thought about this idea and this concept first before I delve into it. So that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you. And stay tuned for the next videos. They're gonna be interesting ones. I'm gonna dive deeper into these. And if you like this video, go ahead and like the video and comment down below what you think about this particular dive, this particular tip at the iceberg, because I feel like it's common within a lot of people. Most people, actually. So let me know what you think, and hit that subscribe button. I really would appreciate it. It would be really helpful for me, and if not, it's all good. I appreciate you, and I will always appreciate you nonetheless. That's it. Stay tuned for the next video. I'm gonna catch y'all later. Peace.